In the world of software, there's always this huge tension, right? You either move fast and innovate, or you play it safe and risk getting left behind. But what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could actually do both? Well, that is the incredible promise of DevSecOps. Today, we're going to break down 10 key reasons why embedding security into your development process isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute game changer.
So this is the classic tug of war. You've got the tech world shouting, move fast and break things. It's all about speed, innovation, pushing the envelope. But then you have the security and compliance folks who have to pump the brakes and say, hang on, let's make sure this is actually safe. It creates this fundamental conflict between the raw velocity of DevOps and the caution of traditional security.
And this image right here, it just perfectly captures why that conflict even exists. Take a look at the top. That's the old waterfall model. It's a straight line, one step after another, where security is usually this frantic, last-minute check right before the finish line. But down below, you see the DevOps loop. It's continuous, it's fast, it's always learning. And the kind of security built for that slow, straight road up top, it has absolutely no chance of surviving in the world below.
So here's the bottom line. When your development teams are flying around that rapid, continuous loop, old-school security just can't keep up. It becomes a bottleneck. All those manual reviews, those penetration tests, those compliance checks, they start to feel like speed bumps, creating friction and slowing down the very innovation that the business desperately needs.
And to really put that speed into perspective, just look at this number, 50 million. That's how many times Amazon pushed code to production, back in 2014. That breaks down to more than one change every single second. Now seriously, ask yourself, how can a traditional, manual security team possibly keep up with that kind of pace? The short answer, it can't. The old model is completely broken.
All right, so let's get into it. Here's our game plan. We're going to start by introducing the solution, DevSecOps. Then we'll walk through our 10 big reasons, and we've grouped them into 3 key areas: boosting your speed and resilience, making security built-in and visible, and the massive strategic advantage it gives your business. And then we'll wrap it all up with why this is so important.
So how do we solve this puzzle of needing both speed and safety? The answer is DevSecOps. And the core idea here is pretty revolutionary because it totally reframes what security is. It's no longer the department of no. It's not a blocker. It's actually an accelerator. It's what lets you move fast, safely.
You know, at its heart, DevSecOps is really about one simple but powerful idea. You build security in from the very beginning. You don't just try to bolt it on at the end. It's a huge shift both in culture and in technology to make security everyone's responsibility, automated and woven into the entire software delivery process.
I love this quote from the security team at Etsy. It just nails the mindset. The goal isn't to be a gatekeeper who just says no. The job is to figure out how to get to yes, but securely. It's all about working together, about enabling people to do their jobs, not getting in their way. This cultural shift is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, let's jump into our 10 reasons, starting with the first huge benefit, how this whole approach makes you both faster and way more resilient. This is where you really start to see the magic of DevSecOps in action.
So our first 2 reasons are really 2 sides of the same coin. Reason number 1, by making small, frequent changes, you radically lower the risk that any single deployment is going to break something important. And reason number 2, when a vulnerability is found, that same high-speed pipeline lets you respond almost instantly. You can fix that small leak before it turns into a massive flood.
And this contrast just shows you the real-world impact. I mean, look at this. In the old model, a critical vulnerability could stay open for an average of 739 days, 2 years. Patching was this huge, scary, risky event. But with a modern pipeline, a security patch is just another small, routine, low-risk deployment. Your speed itself becomes one of your best security tools.
Okay, reason number 3 is all about building tougher, more resilient systems. The old way of thinking was to try and prevent failure at all costs, which, let's be honest, is impossible. The DevSecOps approach accepts that, yeah, things are going to break. So instead, it focuses on building systems that can take a punch and get right back up.
So how do you actually build that resilience? Well, first, you learn from every single incident, but without pointing fingers. That's the blameless postmortem. Second, you practice for disaster with game days where you simulate crises to test your response. And third, you proactively hunt for your own weaknesses using red teams, basically your own internal hackers. The result of all this is a battle-tested, proven way to handle incidents when they happen.
All right, next up, let's dig into how DevSecOps makes security an automated, visible part of the entire development process. And this brings us to our next 3 reasons. Now, I know this diagram looks a little complicated, but don't worry about reading every single box. Just follow the flow. See all those little shield icons? See how security checks are integrated into every single stage of the process? That's the key. Security isn't a final gate you have to pass through anymore. It's a set of guardrails that guide the entire journey from start to finish.
And this integrated approach is what delivers our next 3 huge reasons. Number 4 is automated enforcement. Number 5 is complete visibility. And number 6 is centralized control. So let's break down exactly what that means. So here's how it works. When you use infrastructure as code, meaning your servers and networks are defined in code files, your security policies are no longer just suggestions in a document, they are enforced by the code itself. This gets rid of those inconsistent, manually configured snowflake servers. And because everything is code, every single change is tracked automatically, giving you perfect visibility and a flawless audit trail. The pipeline itself becomes your ultimate point of control for security.
Now for our final set of reasons. And this is where we zoom out and see how all of this tech stuff translates into a true strategic advantage for the entire business.
Reason number 7 might be the most counterintuitive one of all, just pure performance. You might think adding security slows you down, but it's the opposite. DevSecOps is an accelerator. It enables a level of speed and efficiency that was basically unimaginable before. It proves that the most secure teams are also the highest performing teams.
And the data absolutely backs this up. The 2015 State of DevOps report found that the high-performing organizations deploy 30 times more frequently. Their changes succeed 60 times more often, and when something does go wrong, they recover 168 times faster. These aren't just little improvements. These are radical, business-altering transformations.
And that brings us to our final 3 reasons, 8, 9, and 10, which all combine to shift your entire security posture from being reactive to being proactive. It's really the difference between waiting to an attack inside your castle walls and actively navigating the threat landscape out in the open.
So here's how you gain that edge. Reason 8, by deploying so frequently, you create a constantly moving target. Attackers have a really hard time finding a stable weakness to exploit. This is called the honeymoon effect. Reason 9, you massively reduce organizational friction. Security becomes part of everyone's daily work, not some separate department you have to argue with. And finally, reason 10. You put it all together and you get a vastly improved security posture, where being compliant is just an automatic outcome of how you work, not some extra chore.
So, to wrap this all up, what's the big takeaway here? DevSecOps isn't just another tech buzzword, it's a fundamental shift. It's the difference between treating security like a final inspection at the end of the line and actually making it part of the core assembly process from the very start. It is the difference between building security in versus trying to bolt it on.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Take a hard look at your own organization. Are you truly building security into your foundation? Or are you still just bolting it on at the very end and, just hoping for the best? The answer to that question will really determine how ready you are for the future. Thanks for joining me.